Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and today I wanted to do a comparison between the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Uh, Quick backs for the 11 Pro Max was like the best iPhone I ever had. It was the first one with the touch or the Face ID, no Touch ID OLED. I ended up really liking it. It still actually gets the job done for me, and I actually was still using it on an older iOS, but I just updated it to the current and I just got the 13 Pro Max, mostly because Apple was offering $450 trade-in, and at least where I live, I would be lucky to get 450 out of it. So I figured this way I don't have to waste time selling it. And this is my first brand new iPhone. This one's held up great. Now I'm going to talk a lot about durability, how this held up, and then I will do some speed tests. Specs don't really matter because let's just see what the real world performance is. But from here, go ahead and get started. So this has a screen protector on it. Whoever bought this, I don't know if it was done at Apple or not, but they did an excellent job. I really like this one because there's no notch, which kind of usually holds lint, and you can see it, and it reminds you that you have a protector on it. This almost just looks like the regular glass, so it's got some light scratches and nicks in it, but the real glass is fine. And I've been using this UAG Monarch. I have a ESR kickstand mod. I have a video on that. I like this opening. It made wireless charging. You didn't have to worry about it. It's held up well. And a 13 Pro Max, brand new, so its condition's fine. I actually got the ESR kickstand. My mod worked out on this too, so I was really happy about that. But I'll switch to exterior, or without the case on the exterior. And also, sorry, the camera angle's not the greatest because I'm using my iPad Pro with the keyboard. I don't have a tripod setup that would hold that. Normally, I use my iPhone. And speaking of that, you can see the cameras. That's the first thing that I noticed between the 11 and the 13. Is to me like that 11, that triple camera just looked so big and bulky, and this is just crazy. And it actually looks good. I used to not like that protrusion, but when you have a larger case that levels it off, there's no bump anymore. And I'd rather have a better camera. The glass is held up well on both. Supposedly the 11 had better glass than I think the 8 and the 10. I had the 8 Plus, and it was just in the leather case. And just dropping it, not on cement, just like in my own house on carpet, it cracked and the back was all the front was good, but supposedly the 11s, like these frosted backs, had better durability. But then I beefed up my with that Monarch. I really don't think I ever dropped this, maybe, although I did drop it on the carpet like the other one. And another thing, I actually like the graphite of the 13. Again, this was what the guy bought it off of. This was the green that came out. That was a new color that year. It's okay, but I wasn't a fan of which I don't even think it's going to show up, because it almost looks black unless it's under like really good light and it's in a case. But especially you could still see the bezel for the sensors. This, I like the graphite, and I also like the flat edges, which remind me of the 4 and the 5. It just looks better to me. Again, it's in a case all the time, but I prefer that look. This just reminds me of the 6 onward, which I wasn't a fan of. But so you can see durability-wise, the 11 held up well. And I guess it comes down to how you take care of your phones, but hopefully that means there's still a lot on the market that are still in excellent shape. And then the 13 is slightly bigger. Now, oddly, this screen looks sharper. I have the brightness set the same, but maybe different panels, newer. It might, or it could just be that there's a little more light on this side. Now, obviously, the 120 hertz. I've been used to this for a while on my iPad Pro. It's not like make or break. You don't need to go out. This phone's fine. You don't need to go out and buy this just for that. But when you do get that newer phone, you really appreciate it, especially like scrolling. Your scrolling looks so much better. So what I like to do is like on and off tests. I like to do a boot up and a boot down and open some apps. We could go into Geekbench and stuff. We already know what the numbers are. And for your basic daily tasks, it's just let's go with the real world experience. So interesting. I don't really care about the boot or the shut off being the same because I usually don't even know when they shut off. Because a lot of times you'll see a little faint spinning circle, and it's hard to tell for sure when they turned off. So I just go by when they turn on. But you can see both of them. I mean, they're going to shut off pretty quick, and I will get this right hopefully. That's one thing I don't like. Is I thought, unless it was an iPad thing, but I think back in the day, you pretty much just push the button in for a second and it booted. And now you got to hold it down like for way too long, in my opinion. So that's pretty impressive. That's a much faster boot time. They're more or less the same. This was the backup off that. I only added a few things over the last few days. And then this phone's 5G capable, and this one isn't. So I actually have T-Mobile home internet, and it's kind of nice to be able, because sometimes it doesn't work where I'm at. So it's kind of nice when I'm out and about. I can see what the 5G speeds are at other towers and get an idea. It's like, well, at home I must be getting the worst tower than when I'm in a different city or something. So I do like the 5G. That's a peculiar reason for me, but anyone would prefer the better technology. Now I don't know how well I can do this, but I would like to see if the touch or the Face ID is any different. If I can not cover the sensors. It's pretty hard because unless I take my face off, swipe up. Now let me try. Now since they're right in the same spot, and I pull my face up, I'm gonna say that this is better because it did go further. But that's not the most foolproof thing ever. So, go with YouTube. Hopefully nothing crazy pops up. So you can see right off the bat you get more RAM. I believe you get 6 gigabytes with the 13, only 4 with the 11. But it seems like even that's not too much free. So I think the nature of iOS is they like to just keep a lot of stuff cached in the background. Because even this, I might have 200. That's not much for only one app being open. But on this, I only usually see no more than 3, 4, or 500. Now right now it is a little more open, but after just having a few apps open, it'll go down. I think even when you close it, just must be how they want stuff cached to make the use of it, so it's already ready to go. So that was faster. Pretty fast. Pretty fast there. Now this one was faster. That might have been just internet based. Let's see the App Store. Hopefully, okay, I'm on that thing anyway. Let's see. Chrome. And then again, it's the same version of iOS. But to me, it just that scrolling is nice when you have it. And one thing I will talk about is the battery health for the 11's been perfect. I charge it every night on a wireless charger. I think it's like 7 watts, so it's kind of a slow charge. But since it's overnight, I don't care. I don't need it right away. And I have the fast charger for my iPad and then a MacBook one if I did need to do a quick charge. But this one is 86%. Now it has this message because I just upgraded the iOS from 14, but it was 86 before I did this to where this new message came up. So it might go down a little bit, but my 8 Plus was I think around 89, 88, and I had it for 2 years. So it seems like I've had this one for 18 months. That the battery life for me, I'm not a crazy user. I don't really game on it or like have the brightness all the way up. But for me, I'm happy with that, and just great peace of mind that this has an even bigger battery. So I know I'm going to get at least that much, if not longer, out of this one. And I never really run my phones down to nothing, but it seemed like I was getting about 10% per hour, so I'd probably get close to that advertised 10 hours. But if I was gaming or doing something more intensive or on 5G, not at home, maybe it would. But I'd probably still get at least 6 to 8 hours. To where this, after 6 to 8, like you're really needing a charge, or where this, you could probably still go for maybe even another day. And one thing, I don't know if you can see it, I'm not going to angle the phones because then it might change it. But this phone is the 13 slightly warmer. This one's a little cooler. Personally, I don't know why, but I prefer a cooler display, not like way like obviously blue, but that's probably a little more natural though, so most people probably prefer that. Neither of these have true tone on. There's none of that. It's just everything's off in the same brightness. Is it a nature of OLED that it changes a little over time, or is there a variance in OLED, or is that just simply the way it was calibrated and that's how they all look? I don't know, but you'll never notice that unless you have both together. No big deal. And then, unfortunately, and especially since I like to make YouTube videos, I'm not much of a camera expert. I just kind of use it as a point and shoot. I know that the 13 is much better. You get that bigger sensor, you get more features, wide angle. I'm not sure what the apertures and millimeters. That's beyond me. But you get a 3 times zoom, and I think there's a macro mode, which I believe is why that's showing up. Compared to the 11, where you only get 2 times and no macro. Both, especially in great lighting, both look excellent. I mean, even the old iPhones look good and outside, but the 13 supposedly is going to be way better with low light photography and videos. It might be a little noisy or a little overexposed, but at least you have the legibility compared to it might just be crap on an older version or older phone. But I'll kind of leave that there. I'll let the people that are actually more into photography tackle that one. And I'm not too big into mobile gaming, but let's just see. 13's already out to a pretty nice lead. I do like Call of Duty Mobile. I'm not a fan of watered down console experiences. That's why I like this, because it reminds me of Black Ops 2. And both of them doing pretty good. I'm not sure if the 13's downloading faster or if it's just because it started first, so it has priority on my router right now. But usually if I play mobile games, I just like something kind of corny, like swiping, or something kind of more arcade style, touch based, because trying to play a watered down, like half of what you'd expect from a game just never meshes right. I'd rather just play on a console then. But that's why I do like Call of Duty Mobile. It's more or less the same experience. So now that they've updated, I'll go ahead and do this one more time. I mean, obviously the 13 will boot up first, but since they might still be cached even though I closed them, and I think maybe only one will sign in, so we'll have to see. They're pretty much neck and neck, so you can see that the 11, even if you get a few seconds advantage, is it worth that much more money? Probably not. But if you want to upgrade, your battery's getting a little lower, not a bad idea to, especially if you take advantage of that good trade-in price before the new phone comes out. You are going to be happier with the new product. And as I figured, I can't boot both at the same time under the same account, but I might just boot into the 13, see how quick it gets in. Now this will probably be more dependent on my internet connection than anything, but ideally. No, I play with a controller, but yeah, I think that 120 hertz does look a little bit better. I could be wrong. I'd have to play them both side by side or one after the other. I don't think so much that the 13, or I mean that the 11 was choppy, but it might just be this better. Either it's performing better so it's not dropping any frames at all, or just that higher refresh screen just a little bit. I don't know if this can do VRR or not, or if a mobile game even would be capable of that. I don't know. But I don't know. Is people this bad? Like, no wonder. Like when I play with a controller, I'm like 30-0 or something. This is like best moment. If only I was this good on the console. There we go. Blaze of Glory. I ended it right here. Now again, we can talk specs, but those are all out there. The phone's been out for what everyone knows. So I just wanted to do some real world. Hopefully that was worth something. I just wanted to make a couple videos before I get rid of this, when I have both of them together. So you can see here we're down to nothing. And that's usually where it's at. It's usually where the RAM's at. They like to keep everything cached, evidently. So I do have Instagram open. So that's something might be a little, I didn't know. That must have been from when I last had the phone on. And I think Instagram automatically refreshes when you open it anyway. But we know more RAM, it's going to perform better even with that one app open. So I think I'll leave it there. You get the gist. I'm really happy with the 13. And since it's brand new and has perfect battery and I'm going to take good care of it and hopefully don't drop it, I should be able to get at least 2 years out of this one, if not more, unless I want to upgrade. I mean, they did make the notch smaller, which I like, but if there was no notch and maybe even under the screen, which I think that's kind of antiquated, even though I wouldn't complain if it's there. I don't think Apple will do that. If anything, then maybe they put it in the button like in the iPad. But I mean, it's more or less the same phone, but it is better. Unless something radical happens, I'll be sticking with this one and happy with it. So I would definitely recommend it. And the only thing I'll say, I think it's time to put a new wallpaper on. I have a couple of apps, because if you don't get one made for the iPhone, now since these ones can't go into landscape anymore on the home screen, you only need a nice resolution compatible with portrait. Some of the apps I use, they're kind of like crappy. There's too many pop-up ads and things like that. So if there's any useful websites or apps I can use to download some nice looking wallpapers, I'm always open to that if you have any in mind. But otherwise, hopefully this video was worth something to you, and it's time for me to go ahead and send my 11 back to Apple and enjoy the 13. So thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.